Hi everyone, Jeff McErlain here, and I want to talk about the 5 things I wish I had known when I first started playing music. Before we get rolling, if you like this channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. Please go over to JM Guitar Lessons with the link below or floating around here, and you can get the background track that I'm playing over at the beginning and throughout the video for free. You can also check out all the cool lessons I have over at my site, JM Guitar Lessons, like master classes, courses, and play-alongs. Number 1, don't confuse noodling on the guitar with practicing. Now, we all want to play around and noodle on the guitar. Sometimes we get cool ideas that way, but that is not practicing. That can often be a trap where you end up playing the same thing over and over for 20 years. And like a lot of people come to me, they feel like they've not improved because they haven't spent the time actually practicing. They just kind of sit down and play things that they know how to do. Also, noodling is one of those interesting things. I always want my students to play music with intent. What I mean by that is when I play guitar, I want to, respect the instrument. So if I'm going to play a lick or something, I want to make sure that that lick is as best as I can possibly play it. In other words, I don't just play at playing the guitar. I'm really working on playing the guitar. Number 2, practicing scales and finger exercises will automatically make you a better musician and player. This is definitely not true. We can all think about those finger exercises, that 1, 2, 3, 4 that everybody talks about. And all those iterations of those fingerings. Okay, that's cool for you to learn how to get your left and right hand synchronized with each other, but that does not help me play music better. Just as if I learn a major scale fingering, all it does is allow me to know the notes that are in the scale and help me to play the scale more adept with developing my technique, which of course is important, but that does not make me make better music necessarily. It may make me a better technician, but it doesn't make me a better musician. Difference between those two. So for instance, if I'm going to play an A major scale, I'm always going to think about how, even if I'm just playing the scale itself, I'm always going to think about playing it musically. As opposed to like, kind of like yelling on the guitar or just banging it out. I'm always trying to think about how much music I can add into the scale, even if I'm just practicing a scale. And then I will try to make music with it. So experiment with the scale on its own. The scale is just a means for you to know what notes you can play or cannot play. Things like the chromatic finger exercise are cool in certain things, but you can see they don't necessarily help you with music. And at the end of the day, it's all about the music. Number 3, developing a common language between you and other musicians. Professional musicians have a language that we speak to each other in, and it's the common language of musicians. It makes life much easier if I can say to another musician, it's a 1, 6, 4, 5 chord progression, as opposed to saying, well, the chords are C, A minor, F, G. So I'm not going to go deep into the theory on that yet. We can do that in another video. But the idea of understanding the common language of music is extremely important. It makes life much, much easier. And it's the way musicians speak to each other. So if you're going to play the guitar, work on being a musician. For example, the use of the term tonality. I hear people use that improperly all the time. Guitar players often use the word tonality as something relating to the tone of the guitar. In other words, if I change the pickup, I've changed the tonality of the guitar. That's not the proper usage of the term musically. It relates to the sound or the quality of the scale or chord that you're playing. So if I'm playing a minor chord, it has a minor tonality. It is more of a harmonic term than it is one with doing with the timbre of the instrument. This can be a bit nitpicky, of course, but it is the proper usage of the terminology, which I think is really important. Because if I say, well, that's not the right tonality, that doesn't mean that the tone is wrong. That means that you're not playing the right sound harmonically. These things really count. Number 4 is a real big pet peeve of mine. Knowing more theory makes you less creative. The less I know, the more creative I can be. Has anybody ever learned the rules of grammar and become less articulate? I don't think so. So the same thing holds true for music. Once again, we're talking about music. Whether you play music well or you don't play music well. When you hear a guitar player or any musician that you love, I really love what they do. Why? Because you like the sound, you like the music they're creating. They know what they're doing. So this is the other one. Like, Hendrix didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't read music. Well, let's kind of put some definitions in that. Jimi Hendrix knew what he was doing. Did he know the name of it in a musical or classical musical theory way, that this inversion that he used all the time was the first inversion of a C major chord? Did he know that? I don't know, but he used it all the time and he used it properly. He knew how to properly embellish it to outline the sound of those chords. So he clearly knew what he was doing. So I think a lot of times people use this as a bit of an excuse to not put in the time that it takes to learn the instrument properly or to become a musician. I know this gets controversial. People are like, well, what about this guy? He didn't know anything. What does that mean? They didn't know anything. They knew their instrument because they spent a lot of time practicing and learning the ins and outs of the instrument. If they didn't have the terminology correct, at the end of the day, it doesn't really fully matter. They played great. So if we talk about Jimi Hendrix, that people say he didn't know anything, that's really not quite true. He knew a lot about the guitar. Maybe he couldn't express it in a music school sort of way, but he knew about the instrument. It was not guesswork. He just didn't play these things out of the blue and grab them out of the air. These are things that he had practiced. So for a quick example, let's say I show you a G7th arpeggio. Right? And if you've practiced that, you know the notes are G, B, D, F, G, B, D, F, G, and you're confident in that position, your ears start to know that sound, and you've already identified it as a dominant 7th arpeggio. So the work has been done for you as opposed to hunting and pecking for those sounds. Of course, some people have done that. There are always exceptions to the rule, but like I said with that linguistic analogy, knowing more about grammar does not make you less articulate. So please, spend the time and work on your music theory. It's really not that hard. It's more daunting than it really is. It just takes time, and you put in the effort. The payoff is massively huge. And number 5, talent is most definitely overrated. I can tell you 100% the best musicians that you know have practiced their butts off. There is no excuse. There is no way around the hard work. Not one single person picked up the instrument and was automatically good at it. Now, of course, once you get through that 90-something% of the hard work of putting in the time on the instrument to become better, talent does start to come into play, right? So why was Jimi Hendrix, use his name again, why was he so iconic and amazing? Well, he was unique, but he put in the time. So you can get to be a really fantastic player. We all can't be Pat Metheny's or Jimi Hendrix's or Jeff Beck's, but I can tell you that all those guys practiced their butts off, and they would not be the players that they are if they did not put the time into the instrument. Let's run down that list really quickly once again. Number 1, don't confuse noodling with practice. Number 2, practicing exercises and scales do not necessarily make you a better musician. You need to practice playing music. Number 3, spend time learning the common terminology that all musicians use. You'll thank me later. It makes life much easier, opens up many, many doors, and your fellow musicians will be quite thankful that you did. Number 4, knowing more theory makes you less creative. I think this is an absolutely ridiculous statement. Since when does knowing less about something make you better at it? I don't get it. It's all about what you do with it. That's where the part comes in. Pat Metheny knows exactly what he's doing. Jimmy Page knew exactly what he was doing. Did that make them any less awesome? Absolutely not. Actually, I think it gave them more ideas and new sounds that they learned through studying music that opened up really great sounds for them. And number 5, talent is overrated. Nothing will beat hard work. That is absolutely true in absolutely everything in life. Just good, I think, life knowledge. Talent is overrated. Okay, so there's my quick list of 5 things that I wish I had known when I first started playing music. If you like this video, once again, please hit the like and subscribe button and go over to Jam Guitar Lessons. If you disagree with or agree with any of my comments, please put them in the comments below. Be cool. These are just my opinions. Everybody, let's just have fun with this. Okay, so until next time, I will see you then.